Mic check, mic check, mic check. Is it working? Looks like it's working. Good, good, good. All right, let me get the show on the way. Up, everyone. I'm your host. Welcome to Black Betterment Broadcast. This is the 267th episode. Let me find the fantastic PDF that we always use, which I can't think. There we go. It says, found it. Screen share. Is that right? I think that's right. Yes, it is right. Ta-da. Don't forget, tell a friend we're live. Very important show today, big show. Um, Today we will have a kind of like intro of we've missed it a few weeks. There we go, read mode there. This ta-da. So yeah, welcome to Blackberry Broadcast. I'm your host, Brother Raven. And yeah, let's go for how we always start. As we go, don't forget to tell a friend that we're live. And don't forget, if you wish, you can always jump in and have discussion towards the topics that come up. This we set aside an hour for the community, and it can go up to 2 hours depending on how fruitful and educational the show goes. But yeah, let's go. So how do we start? So don't forget to follow the Black Betterment Building Instagram page if you can. There it is. Take a screen grab. I'll paste that in the forum. That's always helpful because people rush to click on that. That's what they do. That's right. All right. There you go. Send. There's some breaking news coming in as well, so I might cover those in the beginning as well. All right, so how do we start? The retroactive expectations. What is that? AKA ancestral obligations and community commitments. What are we saying? Our constructive activities, the Black community, are designed to uphold to collectively recover from atrocities from the past. All right. So one is remember the atrocities inflicted upon the ancestors of the community in the past and present and behave in ways that reflects this. Then connect with the Black people locally and globally and form networks to teach each other about the different cultures. And then repair the Black community of historical trauma that causes self-hate challenges and health issues and rebuild the Black community, Black economics and Black nations. That's the retroactive expectations that Black people are kind of expected to hold up because of the terrible past, the atrocities that, most, if not all Black people seem to have faced. Yeah, there you go. So how can you do that? You're probably thinking, well, the best way to try to do all those things is to practice a lifestyle known as Black Betterment. That's right. That's what we promote here. It's a lifestyle of Black people continuously helping Black people. What? Oh, yeah. I actually downloaded a very good video, but, the software I was using, it downloaded like a notepad, but not the actual video. So it downloaded a notepad of what it was called. So don't have it. And then because it was on Instagram, once you scroll, it goes, and I can't remember what it's from, and it's gone for good till I see it maybe next year. But it was good. It was about a brother in America talking about he puts Black everywhere, and he's very deliberate about Blackness because he was reading the Asian caucus's statements and the Hispanic statements and the political parties and stuff, and they're very deliberate about trying to help Hispanics and that. While when you're at the Black one, it says minorities and everybody, and they thought that's the issues. We don't really have that kind of like focus on fixing Black issues, and that's what Black Betterment's about. It's about really fixing Black issues locally and globally. That's right. Okay, so let's start. So don't forget we sent the link out. So if you should jump in, don't forget. If you jump in, we do promote the 4D values, which are discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. So if you're going to jump in, if you can remember those things, it will make communicating very much easier. And you can even try using those kind of 4D values around the world, wherever you go and you're trying to be constructive. Use those 4D values. It makes communicating with Black people slightly more easier. It does. Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, it does. All right. Try to use geography language if possible, if you can. If you can. All right, so we got kind of got 4 topics sort of, but some were just thrown at the last minute. So Black Soro, I think I'm Soro. Am I saying it? Soro in it's a tongue twister. Black Soro AI videos. What does that mean? We discuss how AI is and will be used to practice That's not even anti there. There's a typo there as well. Look at that, it's crazy. Anti-Black racism. That's going to bug me. And mental health and violent connection. We discuss why it's important to seek mental health support if you're living a violent life. Yeah, drinking and driving. One, we discuss. Yes, okay, this is recent here. Drinking and driving morning. We discuss why you shouldn't drink and drive. So what I'm going to do, because it's going to drive me mad that thing was there. All right. What we should do first? What we're going to do now is normally what we tend to do. Those who are listening, we usually, before we even jump in on the actual topics, we look at a few videos and we give you a Black Betterment perspective on it. So we'll do that now while I update this thing, because it's going to bother me if I don't update it. I want to put that in the thing. That would drive me mad as well. It really would. We'll see. I bet I did. I really bet I did. All right, cool. Let me play some of these videos, and I'm sure that will make me. And did I even say I was live? I'm just checking to see if I was live. Let's see, shall we? I think I did. Yeah, cool, fantastic. Dum dum dum. So where are we? Yeah, let's find these super fantastic videos. Now just seem to have disappeared. And don't forget to tell a friend we're live, and your opinions matter. Yes, it does. So let's see some of the random videos that I have. We're gonna look at. I'll give you a Black Betterment perspective. And then after we do that, we'll go to the shows. So which one is this? Let's check. That looks like a news flash. That one. Someone's that one. Not that one. Oh, maybe that one. That's a good one. Let me play this for a bit.
Into society knowing that they could be treated a certain way because of a darker shade. I'd rather them not know, find out for themselves, and turn a blind eye to it. I'd rather them nobody know nothing and just go into the world not knowing, and just that when it does happen, or if it does happen, they're like, oh, how come I got, or maybe because I'm overweight, or maybe because my shoe size is too big, not because of my skin.
Do you equip your daughter with any information about the opposite sex?
100%. I take her to places high-end. I show her about high-end shoes that I buy. She's been in fast cars, nice cars, she's been in luxurious holidays. I say, don't let these things cloud your judgment of the person you want to be or be around.
I like that approach, but it says you're selective with what it is that you look to educate them on before they experience it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As he was talking in real time, I was thinking, hold on, you just said you're going to tell your daughter about the pitfalls of dating, but you won't tell your sons about the pitfalls of colorism, racism, nationalism, tribalism, all these things that make people be selective of who they want to respect and not respect. Let's be real, that exists, bro. Bro, even just tribalism itself, right? You're Yoruba, I'm Ga. Where I'm from, there's other tribes who don't even get along with each other, but we have to just tolerate each other. I remember one time, one of my workplaces, there was a dinner lady. She was Ashanti, I'm a Ga. When she found out I was a Ga, her attitude towards me changed. Oh, you guys, she said, you guys are lazy. You guys are this, and you guys think you're special. And before she was busting joke with me, she liked me. Now that's black on black, bro. That's tribalism I'm talking about. So if it exists amongst us of the same shade, imagine when it comes to racism.
Yeah, so I saw that. That's we discussed it before. We talk about the importance of teaching your children about the challenges, especially those by people who identify you as black, or African or something. And and some brothers, their thing is that let me not really talk about that, but they pretty much talk about most other things, and that is very consistent with especially black men. Where that kind of urgency isn't there, and I think this is like learned behavior, and just really sweeping certain things under the rug, hoping things will like correct it or putting emphasis on one direction but not the other direction. So but that's why it's important to actually be very deliberate and actually also promote, Black Betterment and stuff that teaches people the importance of identity, but also potential challenges that comes with identity. You see. And many brothers don't know that. So that was a one video. So let's see if there's another one. And I've seen these brothers' videos. I've seen this brother a few places to be at some of the events I've been at. It'd be interesting to know his background. Oh, that's good, but not that one. Why is that double video? Hold on. Mental. Oh no, that's that. So that's actually a topic. So we'll come back to that one. I think all the rest of these are actually topics, to be honest. Not that one. Not that one. That is a topic, so I'll cover that as a topic at the end, maybe. All right, cool. Fair enough. All right, so now let's start the show. I've actually updated the thing now, so it's not gonna bug me as much. There we go. Remove. All right, so boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So let's see what topic we should cover first. I've only got one video for one of them, so I'll probably do that one first. Where's this thing on there? It's a bit mad. Hey, have I got a wrong one? Where is it? Am I going mad? Sorry, guys. Try to get the killer speed of a millipede. Oh, this is going mad. What page is that one on? This is a bit silly. So if that's, I can't see a page on that one. That's a bit weird. Should be there. Ah, there it is. Ah, magic. Cool. Sorry about that. Anyway, all right. So what we're doing? Let's see what. So let's do the mental health and violence. Cause yeah, we'll do that one first because the other one's a bit longer. But just one video I saw that I thought was quite cool. But yeah, it's definitely something we should think about. But it was to do with what's that rapper? Gucci Mane or something like that. What he said. Let's find it. Sorry, family. I'm gonna say it's this one. No, it's not that one. This one. It is that one.
Peace, Black family. So shout out to Gucci Man and his recent interview on the Breakfast Club. When we talk about a lot of the violence in the Black community, we leave out the conversation about mental health.
You know what I'm saying? It's not, you dealing with stuff like, you hearing voices.
Yeah, they have voices.
And you hearing voices too, like, it's telling you that, you might think that Charlamagne I might think that you trying to fight me. You ain't even did nothing. You be like, bro, I ain't did nothing to you. What's wrong with you? Like, I'll be, like, trying to fight you, Charlamagne, like, you did this, you know what you did? You stole something from me. And you be like, bro, I ain't stole nothing from you. But in my mind, I'm like, it's the truth. So that's what I used to deal with.
How did therapy and the self-work change your relationship with anger? And, like, do you still wrestle with that same inner voice that you talk about throughout the book?
I don't. I don't. It's like I seen a therapist. I gotta start taking medicine that prescribed for me and what she thought, and it worked. And I haven't had any other problems.
I always wonder when people have episodes, what sparks it, right? Do you know what sparked the episodes?
I think drug use,
Stress,
and not sleeping combined. It wasn't just like, okay, I drank the lean. It was also I'm drinking lean, and I had like 5 or 6 charges, open cases. So I was so stressed out. So, I'm going to the studio and work. I got all these artists. I'm steady working hard. You know what I'm saying? So from the outside looking in, you would think that I'm not fazed about it. But it's almost like I pushed the cases out my mind. You see what I'm saying? But it's still a stress. But I'm just not dealing with them, not talking about it. I'm just like acting like it's never gonna happen. Like quit not gonna never happen. But that's a big stress. And I'm steady drinking lean, smoking weed, taking pills to kind of numb that. And then one day it's just like the straw that break the camel back.
Now, for sure, I know everyone in the Black community doesn't have the resources to go to a therapist or receive some type of medicine or holistic healing. But one thing we can do on a one-on-one basis is be a listening ear for family members and close friends.
Yeah, that's that's another thing. Like when you see certain kind of behaviors and stuff, sometimes we do get in defensive, which it's understandable. But sometimes it's trying to think of how mental health issues might play into the behavioral patterns of certain people, and also what they're going for, and also trying to definitely recommend some kind of professional talking, family talking, but professional talking to help give perspectives or help people out who might be and I would suspect many young brothers who might show certain violent episodes. This mental health is stuff that we shouldn't really brush under the carpet. To be honest, historically, it was actually a big taboo topic, like dealing with psychological challenges and how people perceive the world and stuff. But it's something that you definitely do, and something that we should try to support with. And but also the connection here is that the concept of like how the whole psychological challenges and being violent, how they might be intertwined, or they might back up, lend to each other and stuff. And maybe if you're trying to obviously heal a person or get a person to less of problematic behaviors, talking is the way. Professional help, and also when it comes to thing of the community kind of work that community, like what kind of work would does the community really want? And maybe like people who specialize in speaking, communications, and that kind of therapy, talking therapy and stuff. Maybe that may be a good revenue to go down, good career, because that's something that the Black community needs. And also, you want to talk to professional people, that's always good. But sometimes it's also good for a person who might have your background. Someone who's similar background, who might understand things slightly more different or whatever. So so there you go. So that was a quick. Unless anyone wants to talk about that topic, I've only got one video on it. This is a quick thing, but it came up. Also, before I forget what this is, it literally just came in now, and I just have to check it. I'm going to check again just to make sure. Let me just hold on. Yeah, unfortunately, Rosa Parks has passed away. Yeah, and she was born the same day as me as well. Oh dear. But yeah, she passed away. Man, yeah, that's very bad. So I'd like actually to quickly download the video. Maybe I should let me put Rosa Parks passes away. Oh, yeah, it's a shame, really. Put it on the smiley thing. Yeah, it's a shame. So, big up, brother Qatari. He sent me that. There, brother's there. Big up, he's there. Big up, he's there. Brother Qatari. Big up everyone else who's listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll do maybe we'll do. Let me put a thing there. Rest in power. Or small. So we just put it there, yeah. Oh, that's a shame. Let's play a thing. I hope this video doesn't get flagged. So we'll cover this topic and then we'll go to the next topic. Just to remind us who the sister was, the ancestor now.
Most memorable Americans ever to confront the issue of racial segregation head-on in this country 40 years ago. Rosa Parks, who in refusing to give up her seat on a city bus to a white man became the Mother Superior of the Civil Rights Movement. This week, at the age of 82, she's traveling this country with a group of students, her story and what she is telling them in her own words tonight.
I remember well these struggles that we went through during my childhood when the Ku Klux Klan was very active. It just made us stronger to continue the struggle for freedom. This was the seat that I took as I got on the bus. A few white people boarded the bus, and one man was left standing, and I certainly did not plan to stand up, and I didn't consider myself breaking the law because I was in what was supposed to be our part of the bus. So my arrest.
Sorry, Prime, I misspoke. I must summarize. Yeah, this today's the celebration of her passing. God, man. Yeah, today it is the 24th. Yeah, she was born on the February 4th, and she passed on the 24th. Sorry, I definitely February 4th, the same as mine. There you go. So this
brought about
a
protest from the people of Montgomery that lasted 381 days. And when we did go back on the bus, we didn't. The Supreme Court had handed down a decision that there would be no more racial segregation in transportation. When I was on the bus the time I was arrested, the only thing that was on my mind was that I did not want to be treated in that way.
It took her sitting down to get a people to stand up. And we can never, ever, ever forget her for that.
That happened to Rosa Parks in 1955. Just one more reminder that the happy-go-lucky 50s were not at all what they seem to be in the rose-colored glasses of our memories.
So yeah, very important sister there. Yeah, I think we have covered the boycotting and stuff and the pros of it, but also some of the learnings about what unfortunately there was a lot of black owned buses and they kind of gave up on those, and that might have been, in retrospect, a good idea to keep them. But definitely getting the laws changed was what Sister Rosa Parks did, and there was a few others as well at the same time. But Rosa Parks was the one that was remembered, and the sister, the ancestor now, passed. But she on the 24th, she's today still, yep, and so she's been missed. There's also some news. We'll cover it briefly, but it's about drinking and driving. But it's about there's a musician, a guy who makes grime, His name is Ghetto, but Gets his like current name. And I thought he was doing really well, looking really healthy and stuff. But I think I don't know if I'm not going to say he was drinking or driving. Isn't I don't know the ins and outs, but it's been reported that he might have ran over a younger person and didn't stop. So that might be the topic next week. It's a good topic to cover anyway, even if he wasn't intoxicated. But the dangers of drinking and driving. And it's a shame because he seems to be doing really well for himself. So we'll let you know. I think I've actually got a video on that, to be honest. Hold on. Let me see. The same guys who were talking, I got from their page. So I've got one video on that. And then when we move to the final one, which I've got a lot of videos for, I only want to cover that one. So it's this one here. Here we go.
Bro, if it's true, bro, he's gonna get a little time and things there because he's killed someone and things there. Do you know what I'm saying? And then he's already in his 40s and things there. Like it's peak, bro.
Boy, that's what I'm saying. People watching this, man, like, if you know you've had a bit to drink, don't get behind the wheel. Don't do it.
People
get
don't
a taxi,
realize
get Uber.
how much of a weapon.
Yeah,
how much of a weapon
a vehicle is. Yeah, it's no joke, man. It's no joke. Just the other day when I was talking to the phone, you told me one of your old homeboys that fell off his motorbike. You know what I'm trying to say? God rest his soul. I don't want to get too much into it, but you know what I'm talking about. These things are weapons, man. Like, the same way you hold a knife or you hold a gun, when you're holding that steering wheel, you're literally holding a weapon. If it's used the wrong way, you can harm someone. If it's used the right way, you get from A to Z destination.
Yeah, hope so. Bro,
if it's true,
I'm gonna go follow them the Daily Show. But yeah, I don't know if it's what's happening, whatever. But if it was a hit and run, if he was drinking, and I believe the young man passed away, then he will have to answer for that. If that's what happened, and that has to be a cautionary tale where where we be very careful when we hit the road. We're very careful if we're drinking and stuff. If you drink, maybe that could be a reason not to, especially if you drive. Yeah, it's a shame, but we'll probably cover that more in depth next week if it's when more things come out. But let's go to what we're talking about now. So this is something. Let's go to the. So this is it's actually relatively new, but I don't really know a lot. I should know a lot about these softwares with the career I'm in, but I don't really jump on these things. I usually wait too long. But there's obviously a whole lot of AI softwares coming out, and like with most things, technology, it's getting much more advanced and quicker. And these things are not being policed, so that they probably going to be reactive. Like when certain things happen, then they'll pass laws, whatever. But something I noticed though is like the ease of how I guess people who are anti-black can just really make content very free and stereotypes they can really try to get creative with it, and not just necessarily anti-black people. It could be black people as well trying to be funny or trying to make a point, but not understanding certain things might not go down well. And I think one of the softwares is called Soro. I haven't used it. I think what it does, I think it generates I assume you type some kind of prompt in there, and then it generates what you typed into a video. It uses some kind of grain technology. I'm assuming with a whole lot of other things. It takes information from the internet and then pieces together something from what you typed. I mean, people sent me some videos. So certain ones of historical figures doing things, making monkey chants or whatever. He's trying to, very offensive things. But I came across some of these. Let me place. I've got quite a few of them. So obviously, I'm not saying I'm anti-AI or anything like this. I'm just saying that you have to, when things change, you have to prepare yourself for the good that people can. So there's obviously good people can generate, videos or images for their website or for their whatever, and make things easier. But also, the same token, people can just really go mad and just start mistreating black people. That's anything that new that comes in. I was think, how can I use this to mistreat black people? So to get people ready for it. Let's see if I can find some videos. Hold on. Should I just do it alphabetical order? let's go to the bottom. What does it say 2? Oh, I should have those. I was looking for those. I couldn't find them. I'll play them at the end. See this. So this is what this one. This is like a church one. This one.
Rig series, it's the Mega Church Pastor Starter Kit.
Check out the mansion and the shiny Bentley.
And soar to new heights with the golden striped private jet plus working tithe counter.
He's rich because he preaches.
Amen to that. Aspire to profit from the word of Jesus with the new Mega Church Pastor Starter Kit.
So there's a website. I think this is like, I guess it's maybe making fun of like the pastor, the what are they called, the mega church pastors, whatever. So I mean, some people might, this actually might be done by black person to us, but then obviously the videos start getting a bit more and more stereotypical and stuff. So I understand parodies and stuff. What's this one? Let's see if we can find another one. So you hold on. Oh, this is this one. Here's another one. What's this one?
Bitch, that's my car. I know the law. You can't touch that. How you gonna try to take my ride? Dead ass, I'm about to flip out. Get the fuck out my way. I ain't scared to go to jail because dead ass.
Introducing the Real Rig Series, Nissan Altima Repo Edition. A battle for the beat-up sedan they've been late on since 2013. Comes with dented Altima featuring removable shower cap roof ups.
Alright, still got more. So yeah, these kind of this stereotypical. So there's toys done in a stereotypical way, I guess. Let's see more. Hold on.
This is my first
Let's see this one.
boyfriend playset. He's so cool.
He listens, shares snacks, and even takes cute selfies.
He's the nicest.
Want to grab a latte?
My first black boyfriend playset. Joy.
Let's see, got some other. So I'm just gonna go. They need to work on the speed of how what you.
This is my first black book.
Oh, this one's a bit. What's going on here?
She's doing everything alone. Strong black woman. Strong black woman, muscles of might. Saving the day all through the night. Buff, all by herself. New strong black woman action. She's bold. She's buff. She's doing everything alone. Strong black woman. Strong black woman, muscles.
So yeah, strong black woman trope. So the strong black woman trope is something that, you guys, is that Foster laughing? Of course you would. So you got another account of 2.0. Yeah. So this is the thing. It's taking these tropes and making them, comedy, I guess, or parodies or whatever. But it's I don't know. Some people will be making it to make fun. Some might be trying to make parodies. I don't know, but just keeping us prepared for what's going to come.
Project.
What about this one?
The flyest little dude on the block.
Oh, look at his tattoo.
Stack up his icy chains, swap out glowing ankle monitors, and hand him the switch when it's time to roll.
He looks so cool.
Over 15 city accessories.
All right, Ghetto Project Baby. Okay, let's see what else they got. What's this one? This is obviously number 2.
She does everything. She's stronger. She's busier. She's paying everyone's bills again.
Go, strong black woman.
Now with 200% more independent. Paid.
Right. YouTube deleted my channel for some reason. So Brother Foster, they've deleted your channel. Why have they done that? Well, was there some? Were you saying certain things? Or were you going in certain comments and doing certain things? What was going on there? Well, I can't say much because it's very easy now to get striked and all sorts. So what have you been doing? What's this one? What's this one? Next one, hold on.
Ready to reclaim your melanin destiny and get paid doing it? Play Hotep Hustle 3000. Collect donation coins, dodge accountability, and level up your legacy.
This is like a trope of like hope, certain people who claim to be conscious but they're taking money and stuff. They win the game. So these could be, some of these are probably reflective parodies, and some of these will probably be actually, bit. What is this one?
Oh, you ain't paying no child support. You ain't.
Yeah, this one's, what's this one?
Child support, you ain't see these kids. Dead ass, you a punk. I am dead ass not 4 months late on the rent. You dead ass lying. That food was dead ass trash. I ain't paying for none of this. Dead ass refund me.
Ma'am, you ate all of it. The dead-ass playset, loud girlfriend figure, clapped out Ultima EBT card, and more.
So yeah, so like I said, it's a stereotype kind of thing. It's funny because one of these, it was like a white guy's page, and I guess he was just generating them. And a lot of the stuff seems to be jokes on Indians and black people. And I came across, so okay, so let's see what else. From the Ripper, so you. There's another one. Let's see this one.
First felony charge? Here's your court-appointed counsel.
What's up, dog? It's chill in here. So your trial is tomorrow. Yeah, I know. This is our first time meeting. Because listen, we can plead guilty and I could probably talk him into just 10 to 15 in the medium security. You'll be out in no time.
My first public defender from Koi Cooter includes...
Yeah, so this was saying that they're using algorithms to... algorithms and AI to generate... it will take them years to do these kind of jokes, whatever, if they want. They will do anyway. But now they've got a place to do it. I've got some of the more offensive ones, the ones that take historical figures I'm trying to denigrate them in some kind of way. But let's see this. If that's the last one. Let me see if I got all
So you do from the Real Rig series.
Maybe this last one I've got. Hold on.
Series urban gas station playset. Load up the Escalade with 26s, the clapped out Impala, and the murdered out 300. Big bags, stacks of cash, and a whole arsenal of heaters included. Yo, what you looking at? Man, back up! Build the scene, then see it come to life with real world action. Urban gas station.
Right, cool. My last video was a clip of a black van man from Speaker's Corner saying he doesn't claim African and he's mixed heritage. Right. So for those who don't know, Ron Foster's he tackles most of the mixed heritage kind of topics, and he says that his page is being deleted. I'm not so sure what his page covers, but he was saying that his last video was of a Speaker's Corner brother called the Black Van. I've actually debated the Black Van Man a few times. He would he used to jump into a lot of my debates. And he kind of was more so on his black brother, but he was a black brother married to a European woman, and I think he took offense to some of the things I said. I don't know, but he would always jump in to try to include Europeans into black issues, and I think he got attacked a few times because a lot of the Europeans were paying him, but I think he tried to go to some pubs or something they didn't want him there somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, if you post something for him. If you're going to thank for him, he might have been the one who flagged it. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I take it your issue with him is he identified as mixed heritage, and you didn't recognize him. So that's the thing. There's a lot of these brothers who they're from the Caribbean or from America, or they're from the diaspora, and they've realized that at some point they were enslaved by Europeans, and unfortunately, the Europeans sexually assaulted some of our ancestors, and they want to claim like mix through that kind of thing. And this could come a lot of this does come from ABA and ABB, which is anything but black or anything but African. And when you see that, this one I'm trying to tell you about the psychology of the consistency of certain brothers. That brother was, when I was speaking, he kept on interrupting things I was saying when I was in the Speaker's Corner to try to include Europeans. He's married to a European. Europeans were paying him to denigrate black people, and then he wants to identify as further away as black as possible. And one way he might be able to do it is by using terms like mix and stuff like that, even though his parents and grandparents were of Caribbean descent. And maybe he was the one who flagged it. I don't know. I don't want to put anything on him. Yeah, I mean, these debates happen. Time's really going by because that could have been like 4 years ago, 5. I don't know. Time wasn't stood still. But yeah, I used to go to a place called Speaker's Corner and debate some of these brothers. He got rushed by some racists when he went to one of their events. Yeah. So that's another thing. So this is. I mean, to be honest with you, the reason we're talking because this actually ties into mental health and stuff, right? That's why I'm talking to the brother about this. See, everything we talk about is connected to this topic, really, because it's just the condition black people are in. But it's a very good case study to see, a black man who's dark-skinned black man who's married to a European who is very against black people doing particular black things, who identifies as mixed heritage, more so to include Europeans within that kind of conversation of his identity, being paid by Europeans to denigrate black people on social media, whatever, because they pay your subs, whatever, and then being attacked by white people when you try to go and show that you're one of them or you're a part of them. It's very. There was another I guess biracial brother. I know you guys will know his name, but I saw a similar behavior pattern from him as well. Interesting, very good case study to do. But yeah, there you go. All right, so let me get rid of some of these videos. This video looks a bit disturbing. So what did we get? Hold on, there was. You should do Speakers Corner still, Raven. It was great. Yeah, you know what? I mean, we kind of went back a little, not too long ago, maybe 2 years or a year ago. I can't remember what it was. To meet some of the guys and wanted to do some sort of things. I don't get me wrong. Maybe if maybe special occasions, whatever. For those who like Speakers Corner, like if you can do Speakers Corner as in be a speaker there, it will prepare you for most situations in the world because even when you watch videos of Speakers Corner, you don't see the panoramic kind of way things are, like the constant like shouting and people you just don't see, and also just being there for a long time and the things that you don't get caught on camera and some of the arguments and stuff. It really can make or break you. Yeah, if you can go there and really just be there and get by, then you're definitely prepared for the internet. You're definitely prepared for the internet. You're yeah, it really is that kind of place, and it was cool. And I met some good guys there, whatever. But it also helped with the case study to show that some of the consistencies that black men are, and even in like the kind of Speakers Corner space, many good black brothers and stuff. But most of them were pretty much like I guess the term we use is what's the term? Why is it going blank? Yeah, the all inclusive black man, isn't it? The all inclusive black man. And the online black man, like very, they're very, they're very, they believe in conspiracy theories, which is it's fine. They believe in certain things happening and very extreme kind of views, whatever. But when it comes to like the importance of black family, not so much, or the importance of certain like black unity and stuff, not so much. It's very interesting that. It's a very good case study to do. Anyway, Speaks Corner is dead now. Content Everything has a great channel with good debates. Yeah, so big up Content Everything. That's a brother. I must hook up with him soon. Talk see how he's doing. But he tried to run a fair kind of discussion at Speakers Corner. So if you go onto YouTube and type in Content Over Everything, that is the very best of Speakers Corner in the modern time and the very best kind of way of presenting it. A lot of other channels had a kind of bias, like in where they did things, but he tried to have like a mutual, like even speaking space and offer people a chance to rebut and all this kind of stuff. So, and he's a very skillful cameraman, and I hope he's doing well. I mean, I've got his number. I'll hook up. I'll bring him soon or whatever. Good brother, very good brother. I hope he's doing well. Yeah, Raven Somalis might be the most opposed to being called black. You hardly address them in real life or in a podcast. Big up, sorry, yeah. No. The funny thing is, there's a few Somali. What do you call it? What's that thing called where things go around the internet? Come on, I'm you can tell I'm tired. I'm always tired because I've been working all day. Blah blah blah. But what's it when it goes viral? Yeah, there's a few. I've noticed that there's a few Somali kind of clips going viral, and from Speakers Corner, funny enough. And those guys it would be something I was discussing, or they were talking to me, but I'm just not in the shot. Or there was one brother who would come up and say, "I heard you said that Somalis are black, and I'm here to let you know that Somali people are not black." And even that's a good case study. Like someone has jumped into something to tell you they're not something. So it's a deep offense. All right, cool. That's fine, brother. Like obviously you're in the UK now, and whether you want to or don't want to be, you're registered as black, whatever. But the fact that you don't want to be black is interesting. Like some go, well, that someone really loves their ethnic group or their nationality, and you let them know that you can still have your nationality and your ethnicity and still be connected to black people as a collective term, and it might be seen as synonymous with being the sub-Saharan African or whatever. But it was more so not all, but certain. It was actually not want to be associated with certain other black people. So it kind of tied into tribalism and this kind of stuff. And what I find funny about some Somali brothers as well, which is a case they should do, there are a few who really spend a lot of time in like pro-white kind of forums, So if you can always tell, because if you ask them, how they identify, they'll say Somali or whatever, but they might say like they're burnt skin Caucasians or they're Caucasians. And the brother, I mean, I think he was saying, oh, we're more closer to North Africans and Germans than we are to the rest of Africa. Now, obviously, it's not all Somali brothers, is it? Because we talk to Somali brother sisters, especially the women who seem to be more educated in certain things. They have more of a kind of Pan-African or Black nationalist kind of mindset. But some of the men, especially the uneducated ones, they seem to maintain a certain tribalistic behavioral plan. And I think the interesting thing with the Somali brothers and obviously some of the mixed Black brothers or the biracial brothers and sisters as well, but let's say brothers more so. At least from a UK standpoint, they're the most who have pushed back about maybe in terms of being Black or not being Black and this kind of stuff, right? That's why we come up with the term here, the ABC community, the Afro-Black connected community, or the Sun people, because sometimes certain words trigger people's brains. Like I said, in order to make conversation flow more easier, we just say that Black people are a collection of a collection working for protection and perfection. And we also say that, unfortunately, the motivation of what we do is based upon being identified as Black by Arabs or by Europeans who have used these identifications to cause anti-Black racism, to which all these ethnic groups fall under. But if you still causes, I think we've got a grid here, haven't we? Say look. There's the grid. No, so it's like, you can split the 4 pillars of global Black people. You have African Black people. There you go, Afro-tropical, sub-Saharan African. So, Somali's there somewhere, isn't it? I mean, I've got a full list. I don't know if it's on that one, but it's on there. Then you have Afro-diaspora, you're looking at, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians, blah, blah, blah. And you've got the Asian Pacific, which is the Melanesians and the Aborigines, which is like ancient African. So these are people who retain African features, even though they're being far removed by thousands of years. But because of that, they were labeled Black by Australians or by colonizers, whatever, and thus they then would be victims of anti-Black racism. So they're allowed to practice Black Betterment because of how they've been labeled and legally killed, unfortunately. And obviously, you have multiracial Black people, which is the brothers you see. Some of them jumping in here, who they're object maybe to turn Black, or maybe they want to be called Black, but they're definitely part of the family. But obviously, with each of these pillars, there are certain historical challenges. So the Somali brothers, which is in the green pillar, I'm talking, right? I'm showing these pictures, right? But here's the picture there. I'm sorry about that. I'm talking, and there's actually a diagram, but I haven't put because I'm a bad person. That's why. So there's a diagram. So let me say it again. So basically, let's break it down again. So when it comes to Blackness, and remember, the idea is to have a way of communicating that minimizes anxiety and goes straight to the solution point. So, when I'm at Speaker's Corner, you might say Black people, and then you have a 20-minute debate about who's Black, who's not Black, and you're not Black, he's not Black, she's not Black, and you sit here all the time. So, as someone who practices Black Betterment, the idea is how can you communicate or do things in a certain way, a tangible way that gets through some of the noise and the static and go straight to solutions? Because for every, like if for example, you might have a Somali brother who I spoke to some. I always remember spoke to Somali brothers and sisters, and some will say, "Well, I'm not Black, I'm Somali." Yeah, that's fine. And then everyone's joking, we're talking and laughing and whatever, and they go, "Oh, I'm looking to go to Canada or Istanbul or whatever. I'm just going to see how they treat Black people there before I go." So even though they say they'll identify as Black, they understand that where they go, they're labeled as Black, so they have to see how Black people treat, because when they go, they'll be labeled that way, right? And then I saw a Irish biracial sister, same kind of thing in a page. I remember we covered it. Like she was talking about, I'm biracial, this, and I don't identify as Black. But when she went to other countries and she was doing her DJing and stuff like that, I think a drunken Polish band or wherever he was from came up, and then she's like, I'm a Black sister and I feel threatened. So it's that kind of thing, right? So anyway, I'm saying that to say that we've got the 4 pillars of Blackness. So if you're from the green pillar, which is the sub-Saharan African, then that's Black. If you're from the Afro diaspora, Caribbean Americans and that's the blue pillar. Then you have the yellow pillar, which is the Aborigines, the Melanesians, and the Papua New Guineans and that good stuff. And then you have obviously the red pillar, which is the multiracial black people, where they have the one ethnic group from a black a population and one ethnic group from an outside black population. And historically, from a black national standpoint, they were operating within the black space, even in identity. But in modern times, because of branding and other things, some people choose to actually identify as mixed black or mixed this kind of stuff. And if that's what you should do, you can identify as you want, but you're still within the black community, still can promote and practice Black Betterment. There you go, quick solutions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's see if there's any questions. Speaker's Corner is dead. Okay, no. Shakara was pandering to them in the park. At least you speak your mind. When you say them, are you talking about? Looks like we've got people who jump in. Hold on, let me put that brother in. Welcome, brother Musa.
What's going on? What's going on?
It's good to see you, brother. Continue, voice.
Yeah.
I've been
working on spiritual things.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying your conversation still.
Excellent. Good. Let me just I'm just gonna just because you mentioned Shakara.
Yes, I'm listening.
And at least you brother Shakara, he well-educated brother, a big Pan-African black nationalist, and I don't think it was pandering. I think the truth of the matter is brothers like Shakara and other brothers, they have been trained since birth how to see people as one and how to unite as one. And from operation standpoint, everything that he does is correct. Unfortunately, other people haven't been raised that certain way, so they might be hostile towards certain ideas. And also, like I said, ABA and ABB, anything but black, anything but African, is in many of brothers and that. So no, I would say he was pandering. I think he was just given Pan-African 101. And for me, like I said, I see black people as a collection of a collection working for protection and perfection. And it's, we're operating as one, and we're one of many backgrounds. And Black Betterment says black. It doesn't say Afro-Caribbean Betterment. But I support identifying as Afro-Caribbean and working with Afro-Caribbean issues and stuff. But ultimately, we're promoting a lifestyle where all black people can tap into. So for me, and this week I was actually going to do a diagram, but I just got tired, couldn't do it. And it's basically how you communicate with the universal black man and how you communicate with the conscious black man. So if I was talking to someone like Brother Shaka and some of the other brothers there, the words I use very different because it's almost like preach to the choir. They understand everything, so I go straight to certain words, certain terms. But when you're talking to the online black man or the all-inclusive black man, then you have to have a different way of communicating and a different way of processing things. And sometimes, like I said, acknowledging each ethnic groups and the pillars and saying how those pillars are connected to the greater pillar of blackness. And that's an easy way of communicating. Much love to Somali brothers. Big up with Qatari. And we say I meant that he was pushing back on Somalis who are clearly anti-black. Well, the thing is, some said just like every ethnic group, I think that even the video we played, you saw that there were ethnic groups in Africa, like Central and East, especially like in close proximity in a nation, who have a history of each other. So they have tribalism and stuff, and I don't like talking about tribalism with certain African nations because it's more intense in certain people groups. So I just don't want to bring up whatever. But some of those brothers, unfortunately, they have that tribalistic background, and they bring that to bigger black spaces, right? And they have maybe superiority complexes or low self-esteem, whatever it might be, right? And you tend to find that the more educated brothers from certain groups do that less. And like I said, it's always important to see the words people use. And unfortunately, like I said before, some of the Somali brothers who I came across Speaker's Corner, a lot of the education came from anti-black websites. And I've obviously in my research days, I came across many brothers and sisters from Africa who took comfort for some reason in anti-black websites where they were happy to be second to white supremacists, but as long as they were perceived as above the rest of the black community, and they made that division based upon Caucasoid features and bone structure and all this and some of the things that happened in the genocide in East Africa, where Europeans were just separating certain ethnic groups by who looked more European according to them, and yeah, I mean we could really study this, but the truth of the matter is those groups who were comfortable to be identified with European racists, whatever, their ancestors are older than the whole of Europe combined. So that logic doesn't really make sense. If your ancestry goes further back than Europeans, why are you operating through Europe? They should be kind of operating for you, if anything. But that's another story. But it's but I mean, and if there's any Somali brothers or sisters who wish to come in and talk, we can always talk. Like I said, I've some of the best speakers I've ever come across is brothers and sisters from Somalia, Somaliland, and the rest of the Somali ethnic group in general. And I think the bigger conversation for me, and it's not just Somali, it's just black people in general, is unfortunately, and this is a multi-topic concept. People who are the most confused or the most destructive have the biggest mouths on the internet. You see, and their algorithms is going to drown out the constructive ones. That's why you have to be kind of more unified and consistent. And what is very important, and this is what I recommend, whatever ethnic group or skin shade or nationality or sex or whatever it is that you represent, if you see someone of a black person who's closest connected to you in those areas, who are constantly causing issues, there is an extra power in you actually correcting them publicly. Because what sometimes people do is they try to form tribalism amongst the black people. They say, well, you're dark skin, you're light skin, or you're Igbo and I'm Yoruba, or whatever it might be, right? So correcting your own collective group is a powerful thing. It does go a little bit more further to show that within every kind of creed, there is a left and a right, or African or Afrikaan or whatever. There's tons of them, right? So anyway, but we have a guest here, so I'm going to them. Welcome, Brother Musa. What did you say? Did you say you wanted to cover something, bro?
No, yeah, I said I was working on a spiritual system.
Okay.
Getting closer to. Yeah. I'm in a headspace that deals with enlightenment.
Okay.
Enlightenment. Yeah. The Asian Kemetic system.
Interesting. Well, hopefully that makes you feel better, and that makes you operate. Because part of what we're talking about here is mental health. And
So I was going to ask a question in relation to that.
Go ahead.
Have we adopted? You got the black race, obviously, based on everything you've said,
mm-hmm.
in terms of our diversity and so on and so forth, is the impact of our mental health based upon the adoption of foreign ideas that have a psychological, emotional impact on us as a people.
So you
know what I mean by that?
I think if you're saying
foreign ideas have superseded our indigenous ideas.
So there's
we've adopted.
I'm just going to mute you for a bit because you might echo. And I'll answer that question while I'm muting. Where's this thing gone, man? Hold on. Like 7 seconds, family. Just gonna hold on. The mute for these. Yeah. So, is it not muted? Oh, there you go. Yeah. So the brother says that, and I'm going to word it in the sense of viewing the world through a European lens or Arab lens or a non-black lens, and that's very easy to do considering colonization, enslavement, and propaganda, and domination. So if by viewing things from a European lens, then you're always going to be having to try harder or see yourself a second, and that's why there is an importance of how to go back to see a black version of something, or a traditional or your ethnic group version of something, or to blackify something. So Europeans are very good at whiteifying things. That's what they did, because they understood that if the things they took from other nations, if you saw them in the lens of other nations, then the other nations will then have a certain dominance. The white people are very good to study. Like I said, especially around at any time really. But if you look around the First and Second World War time, where they really hated, like I said, yours is a good example. They really hated Nazis, and the Nazis really hated the English or the British. And then obviously the British had armies from the Caribbean and Africa. But they said, look, I know you want to come and fight for us. I know we want you to fight for us, but we can't have them killing Nazis because Nazis are white, and it might make them think that it's okay to kill white people. And there was many behavior patterns like this that came from understanding psychology, group psychology, and propaganda, and how to dominate people. So you're looking at black people who have lived in the world of being dominated, and everything they follow is dominated, and every piece of material made by Europeans will place Europeanness at the foremost, and also successfully demonizing African ideas, black ideas, African phenotypes, African or black, whatever concepts. So 100 years of that, and you're going to get people who will participate in the self-destruction of a people group, and that's why ideology matters. And Black Betterment is the ideology we push, where it's like you always try to have a black first mentality and find that so going back Sankofa, whatever, and find the things that work and bring it back, and try to blackify things you're doing, but also putting black people first in all areas of people activity, and that's the idea. Is running European software on African hardware causing compatibility issues? Is what I think he's asking. Yeah, and that's why the thing is also it's interesting. I was looking at it's just me doing more research. There was an incident where a young brother. Now this is a brother. His dad's dark-skinned black man, and his mother's European woman, and he went viral because he was in the car with two other black guys, and there was an Asian man, and then I think somehow a gang war happened, a gang fight, and then he ran into a car, and they were trying to stab him, and he was shouting at the driver to drive, and the driver was just having a complete panic, like my car, I can't believe my car, while the guy was being stabbed, unfortunately, in the back, and he was pleading like, please drive, and then he threw out money like, drive, I'll pay you. And then when obviously around that time the driver drove off, and then he was still come, my car, what have they done? And the guy goes, I'll pay for your car. And people were a bit shocked by that. I was saying like, why did this guy wait so long to drive off? Why didn't he just like, this guy's in danger, drive off? Like, why was the car the priority? And then I saw a channel Asian guy who was saying who's in shock, but I noticed that the Asian people were saying he was in shock, while some of the black people were saying, well, and then I guess the question could be asked, like, if that was an Asian person or your son, would you have driven off? And it's just amazing how people, we have a way of viewing things depending on the lens we have of the body we're in, or how we connect with other groups, So that was interesting. And I guess from a lens standpoint or from a hardware standpoint, other groups have been trained to see, like the example I was given was some of the forums were being very merciful towards the Asian cab driver, and that was their brain computer telling them to defend that, whatever it is, right? And I think black people don't really have that brain computer to defend or to look from a black perspective as much. The fact that the guy was even being in the car stabbing each other, it shows that the brain computer is not working. Like, it made sense for them to do that. They'll be finding other stuff that really, when you break it down, makes no sense to nobody. And you could say, why don't you use your knives to protect old women from anti-black racism? That would be a shocker, you see. So this is the thing. Of course, Asians care more about Asians, white care more about whites. This is perfectly normal. I'm not saying it's normal. I'm saying that black people have, for our history, means that we care more about Asians, or we care more about whites than we do about our own community. And this can be demonstrated. You see. Go ahead, bro. Moose, you want to say something?
Question.
Right.
Can you based on what you're saying, in relation to what you just said, can can you Africanize or Blackanize something foreign?
Yes. Yeah. The perfect example
How?
is how you can study Europeans. Europeans, they use terms straight white Christian male, WASP, or I don't know, what it is, right? And what's interesting is, say again, family.
If I've conquered you and I've given you something that is of the conqueror, of the oppressor, how can you then explain how you can Africanize something?
I'll explain that.
Foreign that was intended to keep you as a subject.
Well, let me explain. So what Europeans did is when they used to be druids, and they used to have faiths that was based upon the winter solstice and this kind of stuff, right? And for some reason, they wanted to adopt Christianity, which is a Middle Eastern, Afro-Asiatic religion, right? So the first one they did is they Europeanized it. They made Jesus European. They interjected the 25th and the winter solstice, all this kind of stuff, and they made sure all the angels were European. Angels, and all this kind of stuff. They really Europeanized their interpretation, their version of Christianity, as it worked for them. And now when they made films, they were European, to the point where if you got a Middle Eastern or a Semitic person or a black person to play Jesus, they'll go, "What are you doing? This is madness!" Like they don't like their own brain computer has now been conditioned to believe that Christianity is a European presenting faith, and they might tell you it's not. But when it comes to the visual branding of Christianity, you'll see that they strongly put European identification forward. So black people, rightly or wrongly, can do that. Have done that. I don't speak on these things because, for me, I just let things be. But there's plenty of faiths that black people have taken, and they've blackified it. They're all of a sudden,
right. Raven. That's what I see what you're saying, but it's a bit how your approach to that is a bit flawed, because the Roman Empire, they already had they was already in the Middle East, and they was already ruling the Middle East over the Judea. By the time Jesus was born, it was already like the Romans could do as they pleased. They could take what they wanted to make it. There was already in. Romans were in Europe, but Romans were also ruling many parts of like them. They were ruling the Middle East, and then well, how different is the Romans from the like? How different are the Romans to the people from the Middle East? In terms of they both the people of Rome plus Rome is south of Europe, Mediterranean, and those people, the Romans have straight hair, the Middle Eastern people have straight hair. How different are they?
Well, what I'm saying is, when it comes to,
am I making sense though?
I hear what you're saying. But like I said,
yeah.
What I'm saying is, Europeans can take things and make it European. All right, they've done that, and that's what they've done. I'm saying that if black people want to go back to original black ideas, that's perfect. But if they're comfortable with whatever idea they're in for whatever reason, and they blackify it, I'm okay with it. And they do that. Now, I don't talk about this because when it comes to religion, people usually see religion as gospel, as in like, here's how things are. So I'm not here to go, well, technically that guy was once Chinese, now they're black or whatever. I don't care for that. I'm saying, yeah, he's always black. It's cool, because it's not my place to tell people. If I see them doing certain things that seems to be working, right? Like, okay, these guys have blackified the faith they're doing, and now, they've put black people first in all these important landmarks within the faith they practice. And that way it's making it easier for them to love and be consistent with black people, because all the people that's been venerated in the practice they're doing is of a similar background.
Yeah, but is it? Can you? If a people supersede another idea over their own native ideas, in the Europeans' context, the Europeans didn't have to do it from a position of weakness. They did what they did from a position of strength. They did what they did from a position of strength. But the Europeans didn't have to. The Europeans, hold on. The Europeans didn't have to abandon anything because there wasn't a point where they thought they would lose what they've got. They have what they.
Well, they have. So
they have what they.
So
they have what they have.
There's your answer.
How are they gonna lose? How are they gonna lose what they've got?
So when it comes to European, so they all became synchronized with Christianity, right? But all their faiths were more European Druid-based kind of spirit, and even the Romans, right? And so that's what, and you know, at a certain point, Rome and Italy wasn't perceived to be white, right? So by the time the Western Europeans were promoting white supremacy, they didn't see certain parts of Europe as white, and that's why, however, the Middle East and Romans might have looked the same, I don't know. The Western Europeans didn't care about that because, as far as they're concerned, all the descriptions and concepts that they're going to be promoting around the world will be of a Western European phenotypical whiteness. It's only in recent years where certain other groups have now been allowed to be included in what they define as white from a political and legal standpoint, right? But if you're talking about England and Germany and Germanic peoples, whatever, their belief systems were very European, and they've adopted what they did define as a Semitic, but they made their Semitic beliefs European. And then that way of thinking and doing was given to the enslaved people, the colonized people. So it was taking what was seen as a Semitic way of life or a religious standpoint, Europeanizing it, and then giving it to either Semitic people or African people, or whatever. And that's a practice they've done. Now, if you look at the Nation of Islam, I'm not here to say that the ancient Egyptian, the ancient Arabic people were black or white or whatever. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they weren't African American, right? They weren't African American. They might have looked African, but they were African American. But the Nation of Islam managed to take Islam in a way and find a way to make it very distinct for the African American experience and people in America, to the point where that's their unique way of operating. And it was a strategy that they did in the early 19th century, early 1910s, 20s, 12s, and that kind of stuff, right? And 1930s and stuff. You know, I think before, because I know there was like other similar kind of Islamic themed faiths that was taken and blackified, or returning back to what once was, however people want to word it, whatever, right? But from an institution standpoint, the Nation of Islam is one of the longest institutions that is pro-black, and that's a testament of by blackifying the faith that they had, it made them consistent with it. Now, obviously they run with Sunni Muslims and they say this, say that, but from a standpoint of Black Betterment, that's a black faith. That's black people doing black things, and they're consistent with it. Religion is a very and faith is a very tricky thing because it does deal with belief and stuff like that. I don't really, that's a belief system, right? But I'm saying that when you look at what they believe, it seems to be blackified. The founder of Nation of Islam was not a black man. Yeah, so like I said, well, that even proves the point even better, right? That you take something and you blackify it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they still have that same founder as the head. Master Muhammad, and he's not black.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't say he's the head. The person who really made a difference.
He's the head, bro.
He's not
without a shadow. Without a shadow of a doubt, he's still the founder, and they do Savior's Day, bro. Every year they do Savior's Day, and the savior that's referring to is Master Muhammad. Well, it's always been like that with the Nation of Islam.
Elijah Muhammad was the biggest draw and the biggest name in the Nation of Islam, right? And what they promote is the original black man from Asia was this, that, and the third. And they'll have to come up to define it, but the black man and the black people is what they promote, right? And I think it goes to the point of, regardless of what motivates or what people get from, it's how do you center blackness in your ideology. I personally don't talk about people's faith or supernatural stuff because it's a belief system, right? So I think that I might believe something is right or wrong as it pertains to history. But if people can use something to empower them, I can't say nothing, innit, right? But what I can say is, where's the black element in what you're doing? Like, how do you convert this thing into a cultural identity that works for your own people group? Now, there's psychological things that people can do in it, like, if the visuals are of a black nature, of an African nature, then you have a certain kind of feeling and certain kind of consistency that you can do, blah 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 blah. So when people do that, I'm like, cool. It's not for me to jump and go, well, what about this? What about that? And nitpick. The truth of the matter is, the Nation of Islam is a very consistently been an institution that has put black family, black issues primary, and for all the ups and downs, they're consistent, and they don't sway from being a black organization. And that's what many and one of the challenges I have when it comes to black people as a whole is the ease of nitpicking, like the ease of it. It's the easiest thing you can do is wait for someone to run 95 miles and go, but it's 5 more miles. And it's like, and this is what I realized when I started looking at past videos, why there's a certain respect that different conscious groups have for each other, because they understand that once you get this certain place, everyone's gunning for you. So, that's how I view certain things. And also when it comes to spiritual matters, I really don't get involved. When I first started operating, and I first tried to get people together, I had to look at certain things that cause the most anxiety and the most hardest to manage, and the most what you would hear is people go, religion and these spiritual things, whatever, it has divided black people, and they go, so the solution is get rid of it, and then even that in itself and that approach is then part of the anxiety. What I hope I can bring, and what other black bears can bring, is a way that people can have their own way of processing the universe or their culture or whatever it is, but still understand that you can work with other black people of different ideologies to a certain extent to do certain things. The Nation of Islam, Malcolm X, and that they said that in their similar. Okay, I come here as a black Muslim, but I know you're Catholic, I know that you're Jewish, I know you listen to third, you're black, this, that. But what we're going to do, we're going to put our religious personal beliefs to the side and work together on what we all are, and that is black people, for a healthy black tomorrow. You see, so regardless of what we are, what we believe, and the nuances, we recognize that the enemy doesn't care that I'm Jewish, you're a Hebrew, I'm Hindu, whatever. They care that you're black, and they have laws to hunt you as you're black. So yes, I would recommend that if you could do any spiritual thing, if you can blackify, or it is blackify, return to the essence, whatever that means. Yes, but I will never stand on top of a mountaintop and try to really make that a primary, because I know that'll be a 200-year mission. Because whenever you start talking about this stuff, you're prone to triggering people's pillars. And like I said, the 3 pillars that triggered people when I was starting stuff was religion, homosexuality, and interracial dating. These were the 3 like triggers. And pillows flying, chairs were flying and stuff. So it's how do you word things and do things in a way that acknowledges that, but still finds solutions. And also, there are divisions, isn't it? There are belts. So there's casual and there's complete. You tend to find that the complete people who practice Black Betterment, they have a very strong black faith. Some might be more traditional, some might be more rebooted or reimagined or understood, but it's all pro-black. It's all like black people are the center of everything they're doing. Regardless of the history, it was once this person, that person, it is black centered. That's at the complete level. And once someone hits that, I have to respect that, even though this guy's faith might have started in this land that isn't black, the way they're practicing now is black, or this person doesn't practice any faith, but they're pro-black. Whatever it is, you respect it, because that's the mission. The mission is black people are failing. How do you make black people not fail? And that's the thing. Let's check some of the stuff. So is it a black movement with a white god in the person? Well, like I said, when it comes to theology and that kind of stuff, I don't speak on that. Like I said, if a black man came to me and said that he worships a multicolored rainbow, I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. That's fine. But the multicolored rainbow makes him help black people. I'm like, sure, cool. it will take you literally 100 years to deal with a person's personal ideology and why it's important to them. And the training is how not to let that trigger your anxiety to go on a 200-year mission. If someone can be something but do something, then that's how you judge them. Like, this guy might believe this, but he practices that, and black people need that. The mind policing, it's not really something that I can do, although I can respect the psychological reasons why someone would want someone to do something that's 1000% consistent with this concept, right? But in reality, when you're dealing with different ethnic groups, different backgrounds, different understandings, you're going to struggle to get everyone thinking synchronized with the same kind of. That's why, matter of fact, I think I've got a diagram for that here. Let me see if I've got the diagram. Let me show you a diagram that I made. It's probably works. What is this? Hold on. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the wrong software. It's that one. So this is what this might help explain why I'm talking to the brother. Brother Moose always comes with very important questions, very important, bro, very important contributor to Black Betterment Broadcast. See if I can find the diagram I made probably 5 years ago now, probably more. So the older it is, the more far back it will be. So just any questions that people ask, know that there's been 100 years worth of those questions popping up in new form. There we go. There it is. So the way you've got to see, if you can look at the screen, so the challenge is you're going amongst multi-ethnic groups with multi different backgrounds, multi different faiths, and you're saying let's come together as one. Now, what will happen is, by using those terms, it motivates the average, everyday, all-inclusive black man to say, how can we come as one? We're different ethnic groups, we've got different religions. We don't, and like the Somali brother, he jumped in front and goes, we don't share a culture, we don't share a language, how can we be, all this kind of stuff, right? And then it's like, okay, well, what we share is unfortunate and atrocities, isn't it? A background of being labeled a certain way and being treated that certain way, right? And it will not stop because it's been going for 100 years. So we have we culturalize a solution to that, and here's how we practice. So if you look at the diagram, it's like, this is a person, right? The real example, a person. So imagine that person is a phone. See, it's a phone, right? So person is synonymous with a phone. Now, their religion, there's all the religion, is synonymous with operating system. The operating system is things like Windows and Linux and Android. That's like, it helps the phone communicate with the person using it. So it does all the tasks for you, right? So that's religion. So Black Betterment, or the lifestyle we're promoting, is like an application, i.e. Google apps or Google, the software, or YouTube. But Google's a better one. Or Siri, that's an app. And let's say Google, the actual site. That Google site can work on any operating system. So even though black people have a different operating system, i.e. religion, you can all install the lifestyle of Black Betterment on that. You see, and that, I said, Siri, hello. Sorry, I said, go away. When you say the thing comes up in it, it's just create this AI stuff. It's interesting, whatever. Anyway, so so that's how it works. So you're gonna have people from different religions and different understandings of life, but they share the same lifestyle. And that's why a deliberate concept, like, it's a lifestyle. So you go, oh, I'm Muslim, I'm Hindu, I'm Christian, I'm this, that, and the third, but I practice Black Betterment. Just like, I guess you could have a Christian who's a vegan and a Hindu who's probably definitely vegan, or whatever, right? And it's like they have that connection. So even though they have different faiths and they're different people, right? They have the same lifestyle, and that lifestyle then becomes a language. So it makes, so even though you worship differently, you eat different, or whatever, not in that case anyway, right? You understand what the mission is. So for the vegan, it's like, don't kill animals, eat fruits and all that kind of stuff, right? And that's the same with Black Betterment. So even though he's a Muslim and he's a Hindu, make sure that black people are protected. Who's muted? Is that me? Oh, sorry. Yeah. And make sure black people are, are practicing black families, black health, and black economics. And they go, but Raven, like, if one guy's a Muslim and one guy's a Christian, how can they marry each other? But they don't have to. Marry a black Muslim, marry a black Christian, whatever. It's like, it's not that deep. It's like, Black Betterment promotes, like, for example, the whole homosexual stuff where there's homosexual issues, and maybe homosexual stuff might not work around certain kind of religious kind of places, right? So you tell, if you're black and homosexual, the first thing you want to do is hang with other homosexuals, right? Whether people think it's right or wrong. If you're a black artist, hang with other black artists. If you're a black rugby player, hang with a black rugby player. Black Betterment makes you go with like for like, while you become a representation or a collective group, then you can come and represent the collective group and have bigger discussions about what it is that you are facing challenges as by being identified as black. And it's okay, well, even though we might perceive that something you're doing doesn't correlate with this kind of idea, recognize that you're black and you're being mistreated for being black. So, we're going to give you the solutions and work with you on that, because that's something that we overlap. And that's where blackness is beautiful, you see, where it's like, by being identified as black, you're going to face these challenges. So we have a solution for it, and you're including that solution, and your ideas matter, and your opinions matter on that one. So you want Leo have a very, very, very good speaker. London's NY claim Master Farad was a white mum, black dad, biracial. Yeah, there is a belief. It doesn't, whatever they were, that's fine. I've heard that they believe the person who founded the Nation of Islam might have been biracial, of definitely some kind. They definitely weren't labeled as white. Raven, how does being black affect your everyday life? Good question. So it's already happened, you see. It's you're born into a world, or you're born to a body where black people have been disenfranchised historically, psychologically, economically, and are unfortunately in many parts playing the recovery game. So I might be content living here, but had the past to happen, I might be living somewhere else, maybe a different country, right? In a different form. And how I perceive things, and generational wealth and connection to culture and all that kind of stuff has been heavily altered. So this has happened there. So the question is, when you look at that, if you look at the challenges that has happened from that standpoint, that's how it is, right? Also, how racism works is you're not meant to know. So the idea is, I can say no one's come up to me and say you this, that, and the third. But the idea is, like, there are people who are aware of you are not one of them, and they have power, and they have done certain things in a way where you will never be in the room to even discuss what that power is, right? But you're not meant to know that. And this is the reporting and the consistency in the database that we've got that shows us this, right? But even so, collective groups are meant to work good with each other. And the fact that the group that's been most mistreated and most told to hate each other are doing that, that shows you that the work must be done. Yeah. So that's how being black. It's a legacy thing where unfortunately black men haven't recovered from being conquered by white men. And I say this all the time. So if you're within the black community, and as you can say, yes, black people have recovered from that process, then there's much work to be done. And Black Betterment is that work, you see. The work we do now is that. Oh, sorry, Moose. I think you got kicked off. Let me add you back. Sorry, that, bro. I think you got kicked off. Yeah. Sorry about that. I can hear you now.
Yeah, it's still echoing.
It's better. Have you got a different microphone there?
No, it's the same one,
It must be just the main speaker feedback or something. But yeah, so I probably went around the bushes, and I was talking to some people in the forums. But
no, it's very good.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And hopefully the diagram I show here makes sense. So, and remember, most questions, if not every question that someone has said within the 15 years, 10 years I've been doing what I've been doing, I've had to write down and research and really like have a solution-based response to it, because what I find is sometimes the way we frame things, it can easily disparage people from working together or working for solutions. And even if the whole like identity thing and people being of this group and that group or this shade and stuff, all this contributes for us not actually unifying and finding solutions. So the way is, how do you use strategy to do that? And yeah, you are going to find people of different understandings of religion and so forth. And like I said, religions is a very powerful tool, a very powerful emotional tool, as in people are very defensive over their beliefs. So it's, how do you facilitate those constructive questions? So I think if ever we were going to have a discussion about religion and stuff, we'll have to have a rule set, because it'll be an anxiety fest.
Say that word again. Anxiety.
And it'll be an anxiety fest. It will be. Like I said, I've been doing this for years, so I've seen, and one thing you got to think is, if the goal is to try to find common ground to unify with Black people, we want to minimize, if we can, insulting their personal connections to certain things, if possible, right? Now, obviously, sometimes you have to have a hard truth to display. So it's like being clever with, okay, can I make them not necessarily change their entire understanding, but let them see where certain things within their understanding can actually be shifted, but they can still maintain that understanding. You see, can I slightly shift it so they can understand in a different way, because then that will allow them to connect with someone else. So, for example, like, if you've been trained a religious understanding from a group that is anti-Black, then they're going to give you the anti-Blackness in their training. So what I found out, I found that many brothers and sisters who converted to a different faith, because of the group who converted them, they're more hostile towards other Black people of different faiths or the same or whatever it might be, right? And that's because they look at the lens. And the funny thing is, a lot of the brothers who I work with behind the scenes, they've gone through that journey where they convert to a faith, and their whole thing is, I'm now with this faith, and this faith tells me that everyone is equal. There is no color. And then they've embraced it, and they're like, this is what God wants, or this is what the higher, the most high and wants, and all this kind of stuff, right? And what happens, they realize that the people who introduced them to faith of a certain background were practicing their own kind of like a betterment, and they were excluding the Black people, and the Black people then kind of became second and third class citizens in these kind of groups. So they said, this is a lot. And then they said, okay, we're gonna now go back to, they come back and go, look, we want to work as a collective, because we realize that no matter where you go, Black people are at the bottom. Just like we covered the whole manosphere, and the Black brothers want to be in the manosphere, this kind of group of Black men helping each other, but they realize that the Black men are at the bottom of it, so they follow their own. Who is the dude? I can't say. He's not pro swirling. No, the dude on the panel, as far as I'm aware, no.
Raven's also.
Go on, bro. You were saying you want to say something?
Yeah. Can you believe it? Can you believe in a religion ideology? Does it make sense to believe in it if it's not true?
Yeah. You can.
Wouldn't that be delusional?
It might be, but I think when you say
it might be.
Well, if you tell me that if you got a lot of reverb, and just so you know, your microphone is reverb. But
okay,
let me mute you and then answer you. Mute. I don't think. There you go. So if you're telling me that something isn't true, then yeah, as in that's the concept, isn't true. Yeah, but if you're asking me, can someone believe something that's not true and do good works? Yes, you can. So the case in point is, if you look at certain faith groups, everyone, for whatever region they're in, has a faith. Now, by certain language definitions, they all can't be correct, unless there's a way of interpretation that makes them all correct, right? Well, now that's a different philosophy argument. But at some point, one of them can't be, if one says the man is blue, one says the man is red, at some point it has to be, they're not doing the same thing. But yet you see millions of people dedicated to this belief, and they equate that belief to them doing good stuff, right? So that means you can believe in something that we know cannot be true, but because you believe it's true and you believe it makes you do good stuff, you do good stuff. You see? So the truthfulness of something doesn't doesn't equate to whether you should or shouldn't do constructive stuff based upon that truthful and non-truthful understanding. We're going down to philosophy now, by the way. I guess.
But, that's how yeah. But I know there's room for mental health in what you said. You know that, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, the not knowing is where you will get a blind from certain mental health issues, right? Because you don't know, and you're acting like you do know, and you believe. I mean, some people say you could believe your wife loves you and she don't, whatever, right? But for me, it's like these are very like I said, I've dealt with black people on a mass level, and every single black person has their own unique expression of religion or faith or spirituality or lack thereof. And there are ways of operating where you can allow them to have their freedoms and still do constructive work. Well, no, I could be wrong. There could be something. No, what you want is you want to wipe everyone's head clean and give them one new way of doing stuff, and that's what you're going to get. Maybe, and maybe what that might be better for is actually on a smaller scale, as in like you only operate with people who have your ideology, but you work on the collective betterment for everyone. So technically, from a lifestyle standpoint, that's what Black Betterment is. Black Betterment is saying that, look, we're working on behalf of all black people, but in order for us to work efficiently, you have to practice Black Betterment, which is black people helping black people on black issues. And then we have a casual variant of it and a complete version of it, right? So that's kind of like that, where Black Betterers or Black Betterment people will work because we understand that we're trying to do something, right? So if you wanted to have a similar idea like that in faith, so be it. Where you represent black people, but you only work with people of this black faith you're describing, because you work better as a collective because you all have the same parts. Well, there's certain parts that other people have that might make it more challenging, but you're working on behalf, but you're not leaving behind. So Black Women doesn't leave black people behind; it works on behalf. And it says that when you're ready, here's how you can walk up. Okay,
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, like some ideas are gonna be some ideas like in any group, racial group of people. Some ideas are gonna be the basis of them moving forward, and some ideas are gonna be the basis of them being held back.
Yes,
you know what I'm trying to say to you. So if you don't lean towards progressive ideas, you're gonna remain in certain backward ideas. And that's not going to be helpful to Black Betterment. That's contrary. That's contrary to human betterment or even Black betterment. It has to be lean, channeling your energy into things that help you, that unleash potential, not trap potential in all kind of spookism.
Maybe, and like I said, the question is, ask him, why does it matter? And he said, if I'm hungry, I wouldn't care if Jesus, Allah, or Buddha told them to feed me. He's thinking too deep. And I said, well, no, it's good to hear a brother's perspective, and obviously he's stress testing ideas, whatever. But I would say, but that's why I'm saying that if you feel that there's an operation, so for example, Black Betterment actually is somewhat of that, right? Like, let's talk about the podcast. These podcasts has rules, isn't it? And they're saying that if you come on this podcast, we don't want effing and blinding, we don't want arguing. We have a black first approach. So within the context of coming on this podcast, there's a rule set. So if you're operating, you could have a rule set that where and it might be like you have to have this belief or that belief, and that's your own prerogative. I wouldn't do that in the things I'm doing. I won't disparage you, because once again, I always say there's a two C's in it, where if someone's next to me and they want to help black people, they can either C, collaborate, or C, compete. And both is good, because if you're trying to help black people by collaborating, black people get helped. If you try to help black people by competing, black people get helped. So it's like, those guys over there, they've helped 1 million people. I can't work with them because they like eating vegetables. So I'm going to help 8 million people. You see? So it's like you can compete or collaborate. Why does Siri keep coming up? Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so that's kind of how it works, right? You establish, when we look at diagrams as well, sometimes people really think that that you have to really convert people to like the masses of people. We really don't. Like when we look at these grids here, we talk about the 2.5 innovate. So from a Black Betterment standpoint, you're only 2.5% of Black people in the area or in a collective or somewhere to be the people who are actually innovating and come up with the ideas of what Black people follow. Now what will happen is you get early adapters and then early minorities. This is how ideas, it's called the diffusion of innovations, right? So by all means, if you've got certain ideas, you have to make them sexy and appealing, and by you living it, people will see it and they go, this person is living by the ideas he says. Now for me, what I've observed is there's certain things that I think are like, for me, the most controversial hard thing is Black unity, as a concept, right? That and Black Betterment is the method to achieve Black unity, and within Black Betterment, it's understand that the reason why Black unity might be challenging because some people have certain religious or collective affiliations that they don't want to affiliate with others of a different one. So when it comes to subscribing and making Black Betterment, it has to have that inclusive of it. Now, obviously, not everyone's going to get down there, but within it is the process that allows it if someone wants to, but also the demonstration. So they see people demonstrating this, like, wow, that guy's a Hindu, that guy's a Muslim, that guy's a Jewish person, and they've all got testimonies of being hated for being Black in where they're coming from, and they use that to fuel them to create a greater Black tomorrow for Black children, because he understands that regardless of what my faith, my son's faith might be, he might convert to this or convert to that or whatever, but he's still going to catch hell for being identified as Black from a historical standpoint of anti-Black racism. You see, so this is how we operate. But by all means, bro, if you have something that you think as well, you should do it. And if it catches on, we might see us competing against something else, but actually it's another form of collaboration, because if you help 8 million and they help 8 million, that's 16 million that's been helped.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. I like this diagram. Yeah, I like it still.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I really have spoken to thousands and thousands of brothers and sisters of all different walks of life, and what you find in this space is the same questions come again, renewed. So what I try to do is because essentially what I'm writing is a Black Betterment blueprint that should have all the solutions for this, and it should be inclusive, but also direct, right? As long as you are, like I said, the sitting around a boardroom asking who can practice Black Betterment, we have a solution, right? And we recognize the different ethnic groups, we recognize the different religious groups, we recognize the different shade groups, we recognize the different practices and people, and we say, okay, here's where you fit in, and everyone is equal when it comes to practicing. So because you're a member of the Black community, you have the right to practice Black Betterment at the highest level, but you have to understand that it's a Black first ideology. It's fixing Black issues. It's setting time aside to work on Black issues. And the reason why we need to really formulate it that way is because other community groups do this by osmosis, while Black people have been trained to do the opposite. And unfortunately, and this is just something I've observed through many years, we prioritize certain things over certain things. So Black people will sit in a circle for like 2 hours, 4 hours discussing, you should be my faith, you should be my faith. And it becomes like a dogmatic an argument, right? And then it's like, well, this, and then it's like both are describing belief systems and things you have to believe in, and they want the other to believe it, but it doesn't really work that way, right? What Black Betterment does, it highlight one of the best things about Black Betterment. Really is amazing, right? And this is me, like, when you talk about faiths, a lot of faiths, they use stories to portray messaging and metaphors and folk tales and stuff, just because stories is the best way to communicate an idea of how to behave. But a lot of these stories, fortunately and unfortunately for religious tales and stuff, is they're ancient. and they might have been fable, they might have been real, they might have been just a collection of many things formulated together to form a form of truth, right? But the good thing about black people is because black people have been hated every single day for as long as people are writing down. We have these testimonies, we have these powers, we see it. So you can take all this collection of anti-black racism and go, okay, that's our story, isn't it? And it's there. So I can go. I can make a story about John, who just a minute ago. Let's not say John. Let's talk about. There's a brother that they mentioned. This is all public knowledge. I will speak publicly about black unity. There'll be a black man who's married to a white woman who wants to be identified as mixed, even though he hasn't got any ancestors that he knows that is not black. He was funded by white people to mistreat black people. He was beaten up by white people by trying to go to their parties, and they didn't want him there. He's done all these things, and it's like, that's a story, isn't it? You could write that story like, here's this man. He's done everything to mistreat black people, to be with white people. He's even married a white woman, and still he's beaten up. He's still beaten up by them saying, well, you're not black, you're not white, so get out of it, right? That is a story, and that story it could be a cautionary tale. That you could the cautionary tale of the black man who wanted to do everything to fit into the white people to end up getting beat up, and it's like, don't do that. So in the Black Bear Blueprint, maybe that story will be there, and that's a lesson that we learned, that you don't need to sell out all your people, for the likes and loves, the potential likes and loves of a people group who spent hundreds of years to destroy you. You can actually work on the destroyed and create a more better protection base, so we don't get beat up like the brother did in the fable or the story or the truth, the actual story that we know, because you guys are telling me about. So we know what happened. You guys are telling me because I was there while the guy tried to jump in, and you followed his internet stuff and him getting beat up live on the stream because he thought that he could be beloved by the people who tried to destroy him. And that's not what happened, you see. There you go. We need to focus on similarities instead of differences. This is true. It's what the overlapping, see? And that's why even the name Black is beautiful. But when there's confusion, I say the ABC community, the Afro-Black connected community. Connected. What connects us? What are the elements that connects us? You see? And that's really what it is. Raven, you should go to SC, which is, I think, Speaker's Corner. It was very good format. If some of the brothers want to set up a speaking, you know what? One thing that would be good is, because we used to go there and just talk whatever, but maybe go there with kind of like an elevated. I don't think you can even do that anymore, and just talk at people, maybe, or just have a nice debate. If they invite me, I'm always happy to go back. Speaking of shows, I've been invited to a show that they want to set up, and I mentioned it last week, but I have to go back to them. And I think the topic I was going to cover was the disconnection between black men and black women, and trying to find a solution to it. And I think I read that comment, but it's something like that. I think that's important. That's an important topic. You see, try to make sure that black men and black women are on the same page, and getting black men to openly promote black love, very important. And that's once again a problem of being conquered and not recovering from being conquered, where highlighting and understanding the importance of black families and that is critical. And if you want to destroy people, make them not value that. Make them look outward for, we say, look within the community for your solutions, you see. I think that disconnect started by butt breaking. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you study history, you see there's no people group. There's no people group I've ever come across through my years of studying that has been so consistently mistreated by people identified as black. Never. To the point where obviously black people mistreat ourselves, right? And that's part of it. And that's by being black, right? By being black, you're mistreated because you identified it. It's remarkable. And I think for me, like I said, me personally, I could have been playing computers or painting pictures or making songs or whatever. But with the research, it was so, the atrocities were so high. It's like, you know what? I think it has to be a lifelong mission, really, because I can't see things changing, really. And that's why we do this podcast, see? Like I said, very small, but the idea is consistency. And the idea is you can start with a small group that influences a big group. And that's why when we come here, is that it should always be solution based and like what can we do to form solutions, and what is it that what ideas do we share, and what should be the constant in it, and that is constructive behavior towards Black people, Black families, Black health, Black economics, these kinds of constants. So and like I said, it's the unique. Like I've met some amazing, many of the brothers and sisters here who come back, know that you're important. All these institutions we spoke about before, they started very small, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a certain people came along and they helped elevate. But what we're in a refinement period now, where we're trying to really, get data and try to get all the data, and the brothers come and give us great data, to formulate in a way where when these questions come, we have an answer. So when you see me on these shows talking, there's many things they're going to say, and I should have an answer to it. And what you should start seeing, unfortunately or fortunately, is I have answers, and the other brothers who come to the show have answers because we've studied these things. We have to have answers to, and sisters, of course. And the people we're speaking to might not have no answers because a lot of brothers and sisters, especially on the internet, what they're used to just like saying things and then using feelings over formations. So when we come here, it has to be formations over feelings. It has to be tactics over trauma. It has to be strategy over stress. It has to be organization over outrage. You see, and when someone's talking, and we're going to tie it back to the topic because it's important. We're talking about mental health. So when you find someone, when you step into a place and you say you recognize that Black people haven't recovered from the atrocities, and you want to be constructive and find solutions, and someone's constantly trying to rip that apart or cause confusion in it, then you have to start thinking at some level there's a mental health issue somewhere, some mental capacity challenge where there might even be a fear of Black people doing constructive things or coming together. And that, and that is what we're going to work off in the small number. And like I said, when the right people come together and work together, you then create ideas, institutions, and concepts that spread by osmosis. And then people change without even knowing they're changing. And that's what's actually happened to Black people, where there was a time where a Black person wouldn't want to harm a Black person, or wouldn't want to destroy something he deemed as his community or his people group. And the opposite became true. It's like, I can't wait to destroy people. I can't wait. You see what I mean? So that happens by osmosis. You can train an AI chatbot to do that. Yeah, well, like I said, that's important as well. When technology comes in, being at the forefront of it, because people will, when they do these algorithm programming, there will be no Black needs that's included in it. So, I remember some family member was telling me that they were trying to make some kind of AI advert, and everything they did seemed to have like a non-Black approach. Like it just didn't look like something a Black person would care to do. That's because the people who are doing it or certain things out, they don't need to include it, because if you're not around the table giving your ideas are not going to include. But also, if you're not creating your own table, which is the goal of Black Betterment, to actually do your own table, so you don't have to be around anyone else's table asking for permission. That's the idea. So, family, we've got 10 more minutes. Is there any questions? Or the today's topic was Black Soro AI videos. I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, so we discussed the AI and we showed a few videos of things to watch out for, which will come soon, which is a whole load of AI disparaging and mocking Black people. But at the same token, you guys can log into these softwares and create educational videos and constructive videos using the same app. So for every bad there is a good. You can use things that to your advantage. And then there's mental health connection and violence. We're looking at how there's many brown sisters who are very violent, but it's like we're not really talking about the mental health, and trying to get mental health talking and communication is key. to try to really understand, why is someone almost celebrating being violent? Where does that come from? There's much trauma going there. And then we looked at the concept of drinking and driving, something you shouldn't be doing. But unfortunately, there was an incident with a UK artist who might have, if it was him, I don't know yet, unfortunately killed a 20-year-old for allegedly being drunk and drinking. So if that's true, that's definitely a challenge, and that's something where the heart has to go out of the victims. That's another thing, understanding that regardless of how famous someone is, if they are responsible for the death of someone else, it's the death of someone else that has to take priority. So we wish, goodness comes to the family of the deceased person. Ultimately, taking narcotics or drinking and going behind the wheel or doing anything while you're under the influence is something we definitely want to not be doing. But yeah, any other questions in the group family? Any questions? Any last things that Brother Musa would like to say? But now's your time.
No.
Well, we give thanks to your questions were amazing, brother. And once again, it's stress testing. And by all means, you can come back next week with even more questions. But we understand that you're asking because we know deep in your heart is a love for Black people and want to see Black people progress. And because of that, we want you to know that you're very important. And everyone else in the forum who are consistently trying to help Black people progress, know that you're important. And for those who don't try to help Black people progress, know that you're loved. There you go. So until next week, Black Betterment. So big up, brother Foster, Sister Mele Goddess. I think that's Tission. Might be saying that wrong. Katari, it's brother Katari. Let's see, there's anyone else. Because I've missed a few, and everyone who joins in and who stays in the background, big up. Black Betterment to all. Talk about Black Betterment. Until next week, Black Betterment. See ya.